Hello and welcome back, 4th grade music students. This week we're going to focus on reviewing some of our basics from the recorder through the song Lucy Locket. Now, what you will need for this is your yellow recorder book and your recorder. Remember, it's okay if your recorder looks a little bit different than mine. They still work all the same. Once you have your book, please turn to page 8 and look at number 10, Lucy Locket. Now, before we get started, let's review our ABCs of the recorder. First, we have C, cover completely. Remember, when you hold down the holes, you want to be pushing down just hard enough to get the little circles on your fingertips every time for where your fingers are down. Remember, B is barely blow. You don't want to go way too hard because that's when you get that awful squeaky noise that your parents and I definitely don't want to hear. And then A is articulate, which means to separate the notes with the tongue in that toot-toot-toot fashion that we always use. Now you will need to know the notes G, A, and B for this song, as well as a new note, E. Before we learn E, let's review B. Remember, we're going to cover the holes completely, and your left hand goes on top. So your thumb covers the back hole, then just your first finger for B. Can you try playing B with me? Let me hear it. Good. Remember A, we add our next finger down on the second hole, not the third hole. We're not moving our whole hand down, just the first and second hole. Now try playing your A. Good. Now add your third finger on your left hand for G. Good. So we know those notes. Those are the ones that we can play pretty well. If you need to take a few minutes and review the fingerings for those notes, go back. Totally fine. I would prefer you practice those before you learn a new note. Then try to push yourself into something you're not quite ready for. Next, we're going to actually add our right hand for the first time. So now you'll know why I don't let you put your hands like this, why you can't just leave your right hand down here, because you always need to be ready to add your new fingers. Now, for your right hand, you're going to use both your first and your second finger. So your pointer finger and your middle finger. You're going to start out like G. Thumb, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you're covering the holes. And then you add your right hand, 1, 2. Now this one, it's really important that you use that nice warm air like you're fogging up a mirror. Otherwise it's going to sound really kind of funky. So can you try blowing some warm air on your hand? Pretend you're fogging up a mirror. Exactly, that's how you want to do it. So you're covering thumb, 1, 2, 3. Right hand, 1, 2. Place. Right down just a little bit. And barely blow with that nice warm air. If you squeaked a little bit, let's go back to our ABCs. We've got C, cover completely. Make sure your fingers are covering all the holes. If you push them down real hard and you pick them up, do you see a nice circle in the middle of your fingers? Or do you only see half a circle? That would be your first trick. Try and fix it now. Good. Now, if that didn't quite work and you know you're covering your holes, now you need to make sure you're barely blowing. If you overblow on the E, it likes to pop up nice and high and squeak. And if you're blowing too little, it won't come out at all. And if you're blowing with cold air instead of warm air, so you're not pretending you're fogging up a window, it'll squeak as well. So make sure you're using that nice, slow, warm air. Try it again. And another reason it might squeak is because you're not tonguing correctly. So we separate our notes with a toot, toot, toot. Some of you try to do that by clicking your tongue in the back of your mouth, like that. Some of you might try and do it in your throat like, we don't do that, right? And you don't chew the recorder either. Tra. We don't want to chew it because that would just be gross. So you want to make sure you're articulating toot, toot, toot. Try it again. Good. So now that we know E, we have to figure out where it goes on the music staff. Well, if you look at the top of page 8 in your book, it shows you the fingering and the location for E. Notice E is on the very bottom line of the staff. And then it shows you the fingering chart right here. This circle means your thumb for your left hand. Then 1, 2, 3. You knew that. But now we've got this little line. That line shows you where you switch from the left hand to the right hand. So now we have to add our first and second fingers. These are all the holes that should be closed by your fingers. Good. Now we need to go over Lucy Locket, which will be in the next video. Good luck. Happy practicing.